The Moche Route, the new archaeological tour of Peru. A fascinating trip along the country's north coast. A journey through time to the ancient cultures that inhabited these shores. A region of kings and queens with 5,000 years of history. Deserts, beaches, mountains, natural reserves, and surprising archaeological finds. The magic and technology of the peoples who conquered the desert. Fragile ecosystems, tropical dry forests, and sacred pyramids. The forerunners of the Incas. An impressive journey from the past to the present. The Moche Route. Our itinerary along the Moche Route begins in the colonial city of Trujillo, also known as the City of Eternal Spring. It was founded by the Spanish conquistador Diego de Almagro in 1535. It was given that name in honor of the birthplace of another conquistador, Francisco Pizarro, the city of Trujillo in the Spanish region of Extremadura. It's one of Peru's most beautiful cities, and its colonial mansions are evidence of the city's importance in the past and in the present. Twice it was even the nation's capital. Today it's considered Peru's cultural capital, having been the birthplace of some of the great writers and thinkers of our time. In the areas surrounding Trujillo lie important archaeological digs involving the ancient Chimor and Moche cultures. Halfway between the city and the beaches at Huanchaco, the ruins of Chan Chan speak to us of the glorious past of the Kingdom of Chimor. It may be the largest adobe city in the world. Its construction began in about 850 AD. At its height, around the year 1300, the city reached a population of between 60,000 and 100,000 inhabitants and a surface area of 20 square kilometers, or close to 8 square miles. The Kingdom of Chimor covered the whole of Peru's north coast. The Chimor were magnificent metalworkers. Their funerary and ceremonial pieces are particularly noteworthy. They were able to gild copper with techniques handed down from their Moche and Lambayeque predecessors, and they were masters of the repoussé and chasing techniques. They worked in gold, silver, copper, and various metal alloys. The legends talk about the Kingdom of Gold because of the riches amassed in Chimor's cities. But around 1470, the Chimor were conquered by the Incan ruler Tupac Yupanqui. Chan Chan was sacked, and many of its metalworkers were taken to Cusco to teach the Incan artisans. It's estimated that the population of the Kingdom of Chimor fluctuated around 500,000. Throughout Peru's north coast, there are necropolises with multiple burial sites, and all of them hold funerary pottery. Black is the predominant color of these finely crafted works because the pottery was fired in hermetically sealed kilns. The UNESCO declared Chan Chan a World Heritage Site in 1986. Located in the Moche River Valley, it's made up of 10 citadels. Chan Chan was perfectly laid out and planned with rectangular walled spaces. The walls of the northern section were profusely decorated with high reliefs. This area was home to the rulers' palaces, administrative buildings, temples, and large monumental squares, as well as the grain warehouses and the water deposits fed by 160 wells. The adobe walls, which reach heights of up to 9 meters, or almost 30 feet, rise from foundations built of stone. The central section housed the homes of the middle class, while the poorer classes lived in the southern section. Birds and fish are the most common motifs found in the decorations on the walls, which also feature depictions of their boats, the famous caballitos de Totora, that are still used today by fishermen in the region. These boats are fashioned from Totora, a kind of reed that grows in swampy areas. Once it's been cut and dried in the sun, the reed becomes hard but flexible, which makes it very durable and waterproof. At dawn, the fishermen take to the sea with their fishing gear and test their sense of balance as they ride the waves with what some consider the oldest surfing technique. There seems little doubt that 2,000 years ago, the inhabitants of these coasts invented the earliest version of the sport now practiced from Hawaii to Australia to Portugal. Long before the Chimor, the Moches, who inhabited this region from the 1st to the 7th centuries AD, built large Totora reed boats with which they made long voyages. Depictions of their big rafts decorate their pottery. Today, these waves attract surfers from all over the world. All along Peru's north coast, there are towns like Huachaco, just 10 kilometers or 6 miles from Trujillo, whose main attraction is the great surfing. Every year, for example, a world longboard event is held here. The ancestral sailing arts of the local fishermen blend with the modern sports techniques of the surfers. This is also quite possibly the birthplace of ceviche, Peru's national dish, made of fish and shellfish marinated in lemon juice and spices. Some studies date the origin of ceviche back to the year 200 BC. The truth is that Huachaco has a reputation for serving the best ceviche in all Peru. Just a few kilometers from Trujillo, we come to one of the most important archaeological dig sites from the Moche culture, featuring 2 pyramids. Huaca del Sol, or the Temple of the Sun, possibly the largest of the Moche pyramids, was used for political, military, and administrative purposes. Huaca de la Luna, or the Temple of the Moon, is much smaller and is considered the Sistine Chapel of Moche art. It was dedicated to ceremony and religion. Like the Mesoamerican pyramids built by the Maya, the Moche temples were not mausoleums like those found in Egypt, although they were used for burials. From time to time, depending on the ritual calendar, the building was buried and an entirely new temple was built on top of it. With the passage of time, the construction took on the shape of a truncated pyramid. The ceremonial courtyard of Huaca de la Luna is decorated with murals showing ceremonial human sacrifices, deities, and a complex cosmogony. This panel is from the facade of the Transmutation Room, where the ruler was outfitted with gold-plated clothing and became Ayapay, the supreme god. Here we can see a complex iconography that represents the beliefs of the people and their daily practices and liturgies. Much of its symbolism remains a mystery to us even today. The room's other facade shows images of ritual combat. The Moche people did not fight en masse. Rather, each army or faction named a warrior who would represent them in battle. These warriors fought in sacred sites in the desert. If the loser didn't die in combat, the winner would strip him of his clothes and weapons, hanging them from his battle club like a trophy. Later, the losers were marched to the temple, where they were honored as noblemen and then sacrificed. The Moche route now takes us to the north along the coast, to the small village of Magdalena de Cao. Thanks to the important discovery of the mummy of the Lady of Cao, the town has grown significantly. Its streets and plazas have been spruced up, and there are now facilities for welcoming visitors. Three kilometers from Magdalena de Cao, we find the archaeological site of El Brujo, which covers some 100 hectares or 250 acres. Two of its three pyramids were built by the Moche, Huaca Cortada and Huaca de Cao Viejo, where extremely significant archaeological discoveries have been made in the last few years. The pyramid may have once looked like this. In the spring of 2006, the world learned of the extraordinary find made by archaeologist Regulo Franco in this sanctuary. He excavated a room that was decorated profusely with pencil catfish and manta rays, which turned out to be a mausoleum with 5 tombs. The main tomb featured a complete burial array that was practically intact, together with the skeleton of a young girl who was apparently strangled to death. This was the tomb of the first known female ruler, who is now known as the Lady of Cao. The cadaver of the Lady of Cao did not undergo any type of mummification process. She was a natural mummy. Her state of conservation was impressive. Her grave goods needed no restoration, but each piece was thoroughly cleaned. These included ornamental objects worthy of a ruler, crowns and diadems made of gilded copper, gold-plated cloaks, ornamental spear throwers, and 2 golden war clubs. The Moche people knew how to gild copper, an art that was not discovered in Europe until the mid-18th century through electrolysis. The funerary bundle also revealed precious gems and jewelry, including necklaces, earrings, and bracelets. Of particular note were the 42 nose ornaments. Each one of these is a tiny work of art that represents the constant duality of the Moche philosophy through the intermingling of metals. Moche metalworkers knew how to weld metal. Blowing through a thin straw, they were able to concentrate a flame, achieving temperatures that were high enough to weld. Before the discovery of the tomb of the Lady of Cao, no one had ever imagined that a woman could play a significant role in such an ancient culture, and it was unthinkable that she could rise to such power. Forensic tests have revealed that the Lady of Cao died quite young, at 20 to 25 years of age. She was of slight stature, measuring about 145 centimeters, or 4'9", when she was still alive. The folds in her abdominal skin seem to indicate that she died after giving birth. Before burial, the body of the lady was bathed in seawater and painted with cinnabar, or mercury sulfide, to preserve it from insects. Cinnabar was used in various rituals, and it's possible that the Moche believed it had magical qualities. They associated its intense red color with blood, the fluid of life. The priestesses that prepared the body signed their own death warrants. Cinnabar is deadly and toxic. When absorbed through the skin or inhaled, mercury causes harmful effects which are irreversible. Tattoos of snakes, spiders, mythical animals, and geometric designs were found on the mummy's arms and legs, and are associated with religion and shamanism. There's no doubt that the Lady of Cao was a ruler and at the same time a priestess. She would have participated in certain special healing ceremonies where her presence was called for. She probably wore holy ornamental pieces that symbolized her divine essence. She was the human incarnation of Chicopaic, god of the sea and the moon, and the counterpart of Ayapaik, god of the earth and the sun. In the ceremonial courtyard of Huaca de Cao Viejo, we can see what remains of the ancient murals. The decoration is identical to that found in Huaca de la Luna. Built between 300 and 400 AD, the building features representations of the god of decapitation, who was offered human sacrifices to placate his wrath. The Moche attributed the cycles of the El Niño weather phenomenon to the rage of their gods. Torrential rains and persistent droughts brought them disaster and death. Normally, clouds pushed along by the wind unloaded the rains in the Andes. The alteration of atmospheric pressure in the tropical Pacific, near Australia, results in a change in wind direction, causing the air to begin blowing from west to east. Ocean temperatures rise between 3 and 7 degrees Celsius, leading to an unusual rate of evaporation. The torrential rains that affect not only the coast but the mountains cause terrible catastrophes. Rivers arrive at the sea loaded with sediment, which the surf, and later the wind, returns to the desert, creating dunes and sand traps that bury the earth and buildings alike. In the El Brujo complex, 2 ceremonial pits have been discovered. They are carved in a spiral shape and were used to measure water table levels and to predict the return of El Niño. The discovery of a huge tomb in the temple's southern wall provided definitive proof that the Moche were indeed able to predict the recurrence of the El Niño phenomenon. The tomb, where a very important person was probably buried, was empty but had not been sacked. It was the Moche themselves who had emptied the burial site to save it from the damaging return of El Niño. The mural showing a line of those chosen to be sacrificed is the far-off echo of the drama of atonement that took place atop the pyramid. Blood had to be spilled in order to comply with the will of the gods. The flow of life would then return to the earth. Today, the mummy of the Lady of Cao is on view in the treasure chamber in the dig site museum at El Brujo Archaeological Complex. Our journey along the Moche route continues now to the north. Peru's northern coast, between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean, is a strip of desert some 200 kilometers or 120 miles wide. It's one of the driest places on the planet. The rivers that begin in the snow-capped Andes descend in a violent rush, sculpting the landscape. One of these is the Santa River, whose ferocious waters have worked the stone to create the canyon known as Cañón del Pato. Before emptying into the sea, the waters slow, creating fertile valleys in the desert, veritable oases for life in the middle of nowhere. These valleys were the cradle of ancient Peruvian civilizations. Plagued by dunes, there are natural areas of tropical dry forests, like Cañoncillo, a reserve of more than 1,300 hectares, or 3,200 acres, populated by about 100,000 carob trees. The wood of the carob tree was valued by the Moche for its qualities of hardness and endurance. Its 3 lakes provide the habitat for numerous bird species. Not far from here is the small colonial city of San Pedro de Yoc. A lovely church presides over the parade grounds. Its facade features two statues of St. Peter and St. Paul. The clock is a unique piece brought here from Paris. Its manor houses are just 1 story high, like this blue one known as Casa Raimondi, named for the Italian scholar who died here. The coast is an endless beach that stretches hundreds of kilometers. In Puerto Chicama, the world's longest wave begins. It can reach up to 2.5 meters high and 2 kilometers long. That's 9 feet high and 1.2 miles long. It's a popular spot, attracting surfers from all over the world. Most of the beaches are untouched, with virtually no buildings, which adds to their charm. The villages are small and well kept. In almost all of them, there are ancient houses from colonial times. We continue climbing to Pacasmayo, the region's largest city. This city was practically destroyed during the war with Chile, although some of its ancient edifications from colonial times can still be seen. Such is the case with the 18th century pier. Just like the region itself, the city is gaining in popularity due to archaeological attractions and surfing conditions. Not far from Pacasmayo, the route turns toward far-off Cajamarca, another Peruvian region with a historical and archaeological heritage that dates to the pre-ceramic era. Our tour along the Moche route continues in the city of Sanya. The ruins of its ancient churches speak of a beautiful and opulent history. They recall the splendor that consecrated the city as one of the most luxurious spots in the Peruvian viceroyalty. But they are also a testament to pirate sackings, misfortune, disgrace, and destruction. Known by locals as the Seville of Peru, the city is located in the fertile Sanya Valley. From the beginning, the city boasted robust economic activity thanks to its sugar mills, which were run by hundreds of black slaves. Considered the Potosi of the north, it had numerous colonial buildings. 7 huge churches were built, and the city was developed and embellished with materials brought from the metropolis. Such riches attracted pirates, who sacked the city over and over. In 1686, Belgian buccaneer Edward Davis led a furious assault. Not long after that, privateer Francis Drake made off with what little was left. And as if that weren't enough, in March of 1720, the Sanya River flooded and completely destroyed the city. The Moche route takes us now to Chiclayo, capital of the Lambayeque region, and the most important city in northern Peru. This is the country's 4th largest city. In recent years, there's been a boom here in commerce and tourism. With 5 archaeological museums and activity at about 20 dig sites each day, it is frequented by visitors who are interested in learning more about the ancient history of Peru. Its colorful Brujos market is quite famous. In one section of the central market, several streets are dedicated to medicinal remedies. Here, all sorts of herbs, salves, and balms are sold to cure almost every ill, especially those maladies that are believed to be linked to magic and superstition. In this northern region, beliefs in witchcraft, folk medicine, and traditional healing are strongly rooted. Many of the ceremonies that still take place here remain unchanged 2,000 years after they were led by Moche shamans. The San Pedro cactus is essential to these practices. After its pulp has been boiled, mescaline is extracted. This powerful mind-altering drug allows those who drink it to leave the realm of reality, crossing over into another dimension of existence. These rites are syncretic in nature, combining Catholic saints with ancestral deities and powerful objects. The shaman's table always features several mummy skulls and objects recovered from age-old tombs. The San Pedro cactus is ingested orally or through the nose, which heightens its effects and makes them more immediate. Ceremonies last through the night. The spirits they invoke will return again and again in future rites led by the shaman. Moche attendants dressed as turkey vultures, who were charged with calming and preparing victims for sacrifice, used the San Pedro cactus to help the victims reach a state of semi-consciousness bordering on ecstasy. Oracles and fortune tellers used it to accentuate their visions and connect them with the great beyond. 10 kilometers or 6 miles from Chiclayo, we come to the Ventarrón archaeological site. Nearly 5,000 years old, it predates the Moche culture by almost 3,000 years. Here, the oldest polychrome murals in the Americas were discovered. This is an extremely ancient temple. Built of mud bricks, it's clear that adobe was still not in use at the time. It was built in various phases. The facade features several large buttresses that hold up the massive central pillar section, giving it an impressively solid appearance. This image helps us to see how it may have looked in its time. During the excavation, numerous intrusive burial sites were discovered from later cultures, from the Cupisnique, a formative period coastal people, to the Inca, which proves that this has long been considered a sacred spot. Structures from different building periods continued to appear. An oven was uncovered, from which ashes were taken so that carbon dating tests could be run. Analysis revealed an age of between 4,500 and 5,000 years. Concealed by a filler block was a strange polychrome mural. On the other side, a wall was unearthed with diagonal stripes of red and white. This was thought to be a facade. Once the wall had been secured, the mural could be uncovered. It shows a deer trapped in a web. No one is quite sure whether or not this image is a deity. The corner opposite what may have been an altar features the same design. These are the oldest murals in the Americas. Another notable discovery was the ceremonial chamber built in the shape of the chacana, or Inca cross. There's no doubt that this is the oldest structure of its kind discovered to date. On the valley's western slope, covered by dense deposits of wind-swept sand, groupings of buildings have been found that have the same characteristics as the Temple of Ventarrón. Very little is known about those who built them, or about the civilization that inhabited this valley 5,000 years ago. There's no way to compare them to other archaeological sites in the same region from the same era. For now, Ventarrón continues to be another of ancient Peru's enigmas. In the same valley where Ventarrón is located, a huge temple has been discovered from the formative period that stretches from 1800 to 500 BC. Its dwellings made of earth and plaster have led archaeologists to believe that the building was willfully buried and abandoned. Had this not been the case, the return of the El Niño phenomenon would have destroyed its fine finish. The murals discovered to date are clearly influenced by the Chavin culture in the Andes Mountains. This enormous temple, with its facade of more than 200 meters or 650 feet, was built with cylindrical adobe bricks similar to those found at Cajamarca, proving the contact made between different peoples of this period. Several simple burial sites have been found with pottery offerings. Forensic studies may shed some light on the ancient settlers in this spot. The Moche route now takes us to the pyramids of Huaca Rajada in Sipán. No, those are not hills. They are Moche pyramids built with millions of adobe bricks, colossal constructions that have stood the test of time. This is what the Huaca Rajada pyramids may have once looked like. They were built to withstand the effects of earthquakes, using blocks with expansion joints. Some 88 million adobe bricks were used to build these pyramids. Throughout this area are hills with no vegetation. These are actually pyramids. There is a greater concentration of pyramids here than in any other part of the world. About 300 have been counted. In the Pampa Grande pyramid, 122 million adobe bricks were used. The city that once surrounded the sanctuary grew to about 15,000 inhabitants. Each family or clan had to contribute a certain number of bricks for the construction of these ceremonial centers. All of the bricks were marked with the family seal to identify the contribution it had made. Lines, circles, small holes, and handprints. In the spring of 1987, archaeologist Walter Alba made one of the most important discoveries in several decades, the tomb of the Lord of Sipan. This was the first tomb of a Moche ruler to be found. His grave goods were spectacular. News of this find spread throughout the world. Ornaments of gold, silver, copper, and semi-precious stones. Scepters, necklaces, ear and nose ornaments, military emblems, beaded breastplates, coxal protectors, rattles, crowns, diadems, and hundreds of earthenware vessels with offerings. Everything he had ever used in his life. It was the first time that such an important tomb had been opened with its grave goods completely untouched. The Lord of Sipan was buried with 8 other people who would accompany him to the great beyond. In the funeral chamber were 1 child, 3 women, a banner holder, and a military commander. After carob tree beams were placed to seal the chamber, a guard with his feet amputated was laid out, and in a niche on the upper level, a watchman. Moche rulers were considered to be demigods. No one dared to look at them directly, and when the leaders walked by, their subjects fell trembling to the ground. The rulers represented the deity Ayapaik, the feline god and supreme deity of the Moche pantheon. Since 1987, 16 tombs have been discovered in the funerary complex of Huaca Rajada. All of these are the burial sites of the Moche elite, rulers, princes, priests, military chiefs, and warriors. Excavation continues. Walter Alba's team knows that there are still tombs to be uncovered in this funerary complex. There are still many secrets waiting to be discovered at the Huaca Rajada Archaeological Complex. 2 other complexes exist that have not been excavated to date, including 2 enormous pyramids. Recently, the Huaca Rajada Museum was inaugurated at the excavation site. It houses the pieces found and restored from tombs 14, 15, and 16. The carob tree beams that sealed off the funeral chambers of the Sipán tombs disintegrated over time, crushing the funerary objects. For this reason, each piece must be subjected to a labor-intensive restoration process. Near Sipan, the Moche route leads us to Chaparrí Ecological Reserve. It's named for Chaparrí Mountain, which was a sacred site for the Moche, and which continues to play an important role for local shamans. The reserve was an initiative led by photographer Heinz Plange and ecologist Bernie Playton, a specialist in endangered species, including the spectacled bear. This is the only bear species native to South America. It's characterized by its black coat and the irregular beige-colored markings on its chest and especially its face, which explain its name. While physically strong animals, they are quite shy and peaceful by nature. These bears are rescued from circuses and other places where they are exploited so that they can be reintroduced into their natural habitat and the species can be preserved. Reproduction efforts have been successful at Chaparrí. It's thought that in Peru there are currently between 400 and 500 spectacled bears. Other endangered species that inhabit the reserve include the colo-colo, the gray heron, the Andean condor, and the margai, which was once believed to be extinct. There are also peccaries, white-tailed deer, Saturan fox, and iguanas. This is a paradise for birds. Among these are the white-winged guan and the hummingbird. The reserve features a lodge with 12 guest rooms. The buildings were built in the traditional style using adobe bricks, and they blend in with the surrounding tropical dry forest. All services offered by the hotel draw from renewable energies. We now continue our journey along the Moche route with a visit to the sacred forest of Pomac, another protected tropical dry forest ecosystem. Here there are ancient carob trees like this one, which is about 2,000 years old. It was already here when the Moche people came to snare deer. In Pomac Forest, there are various pyramids that were built by the Lambayeque, or Sican people, who succeeded the Moche civilization. We now ascend to the archaeological enclave of Tucume. This is the largest pyramid grouping in the world. Of the 26 pyramids here, very few have been excavated to date. The largest pyramid is 450 meters long, 100 meters wide, and 40 meters tall. In feet, that's 1,500 by 330 by 130. The Tucume Archaeological Project was begun in 1989 under the direction of the famous Norwegian biologist and geographer Thor Heyerdahl. In 1947, he sailed 8,000 kilometers on his raft the Kon-Tiki from the Peruvian coast to the Tuamotu Islands, proving that the ancient Peruvians were capable of sailing to Polynesia on a similar craft. Legend has it that Tucume was settled by Naimlap, a mythical hero who arrived by sea with a fleet of ships and founded a powerful state that mobilized a huge number of peasants to build these grand palaces and expansive holy cities. In Huaca de las Balsas, we can see the kind of decoration that graced the walls of the palace's many rooms. On display in the Sipán Museum in Ferreñafe are some spectacular examples of Lambayeque metalwork. This mask and winged headdress would have been worn by the Lord of Sipan 1,000 years ago. In their metallurgy work, the Lambayeque were able to produce bronze, and they were experts at working such precious metals as gold and silver. Elite members of society were buried with their servants and concubines, who were seated in a circle surrounding their grave goods. The Lord of Sipan was discovered in one of the temples in the Pomac forest with his legs crossed and upside down. From this point on the Moche route, we travel to the land of the Chachapoyas. At the edge of the jungle, the region was once inhabited by this mysterious culture that placed the deceased in sarcophagi carved into vertical cliff walls. It's still not entirely clear how they were able to do this. Just one more unsolved mystery in the history of Peru. Now the Moche route takes us to the coast, to Huaca Chotuna, where archaeologist Carlos Wester has made some amazing discoveries. Within the archaeological site's 95 hectares, or 240 acres, discoveries have included pyramids, palaces, courtyards, temples, bedroom chambers, and the tombs of the Lambayeque and Sipan people. This proves the important role played by this culture, which developed here between the 8th and 14th centuries. Recently, an important ceremonial plaza was discovered, measuring some 600 square meters, or 6,400 square feet. The altar is raised to a height of about 2 meters and is decorated with polychrome murals that allude to transformations provoking the El Niño phenomenon. Two-headed serpents that capture characters with walking sticks, waves in motion, and various species of land and sea animals. Their close proximity to the ocean means maintenance work is unceasing. Carlos Wester's team has recently discovered the tomb of an elite member of Sipan society. He has a mask of gilded copper and a large quantity of pottery offerings. It is still too early to confirm whether this is a ruler who died in about 1200 AD. In the laboratory at the Brunig Museum of Lambayeque, restoration work is being carried out on pieces found in Huaca Chotuna. Because of corrosion caused by humidity and saltpeter, each piece requires a slow and tedious process to clean and repair it. It's very important that every object be registered, when and where it was found, and the exact position where it was found in the dig site. Complete burial sites are of utmost importance for archaeological study. In the city of Lambayeque, one of the finest museums in the Americas can be found, the Royal Tombs of Sipán Museum, the dream of archaeologist Walter Alba. Its collection includes the treasures found in the tombs on the funerary platform of Huaca Rajada. The grave goods of the Lord of Sipán alone comprise 600 pieces. His mortal remains are on display in one of the museum's more distinguished areas. The pieces associated with the other ruler that was discovered, the so-called ancient Lord of Sipán, feature a level of refinement that is exquisite. These are considered the most opulent tombs in the Americas. Also on display is an impressive collection of Moche pottery, which plays an essential role in the study of this culture. The Moche left no written history, but the iconography of their pottery features images of their uses and customs. Moche pottery workshops must have been quite important, considering the level of production they enjoyed. Most pieces were made to be used in funerals. We can assume that pottery for daily use would have been made in other less specialized workshops. The Huacos retrato, or portrait pieces, are famous for their extraordinary realism and exquisite quality. Serene faces with a penetrating gaze transmit the passion of the artists who made them. They used molds that they made after creating clay sculptures. Musicians, farmers, warriors, gods, medicine men, men and women, noblemen and commoners, all of these are represented in the pottery. Moche pottery are considered classic works when judged by the universal artistic ideals of perfection and realism. They reflect a hierarchical society with a dominant class populated by priests, soldiers, and nobles. Below these are artisans, then fishermen and farmers, and finally the common people. Painting the pottery was another important way of reflecting the life of this singular culture. The Moche Route, a tour of the 5,000 years of history of the ancient peoples of Peru. A journey through time that helps us to understand the enigmatic and unknown story of the Americas.
Hey,